Me Grimlock kick butt!
Hello internet friends, Napyet here. Thank you for joining me. A very special unboxing for me in that I've been looking for Grimlock for over 12 months. I came to the collecting of Studio Series 86 a little bit late and he was hard to get. Checking eBay, but the prices were astronomical. £400 for what should be a £60 figure at some of the listings. No way I'm going to be paying anything like that. But eventually a reasonably priced offering came up on eBay, so I grabbed it. And then wouldn't you know it, on Kapow Toys, a week later, Grimlock appeared. So the timing would have been great if I'd been able to get him from Kapow, because I like that. It's a specialist retailer of Transformers and they're always reasonable. But you just have to go when the figures appear, particularly if they're the early ones that are harder to get. So I finally got him. I think Grimlock is a favourite of a lot of people. He's a bit dim-witted.
Me Grimlock need new strategy.
But has a heart of gold. In the original G1 cartoon, he thinks he should be leading the Autobots because he's the stronger and strength wins.
Optimus strong, but me Grimlock stronger.
But he's unable to bring himself to kill Optimus Prime because in his heart, he knows it's the wrong thing to do.
Optimus Prime, can you forgive?
Even though he's slow, arrogant, a bit foolish at times, he does the right thing in the end, and that's attractive. He's also, we just love the fact that he's a T-Rex, he's powerful. Got hold of these guys because they came out, the time frame was a little bit better, so I actually got Slug first, then Sludge, and we're going to see how they stack up against each other. I think it'd be cool to do a Dinobot specific video because these are the real standouts in the Studio Series 86 for me because they're so big and in scale with the other guys. But in this video we'll focus on Grimlock, get him unboxed, see what he looks like. I know a lot of people have done their unboxings of this guy, Transformers YouTubers already, but I want a record of all the toys. So I'll offer some opinions and maybe there'll be opinions. You could have heard them before, but they're specific to me and I just want a record of everything that I've got in this line so far. So without further ado, let's get on and do that. So going back to the original packaging, they hadn't brought out the cardboard packaging at the point at which Grimlock was released. 24-step transformation, shouldn't be too bad. Grimlock and the Dinobots storm the Quintesson courtroom. Yeah, one of my favourite sequences from the movie, and Grimlock showing off his strength and his leadership qualities really. Stamping his foot gets people in line, doesn't it?
Me Grimlock say execute them!
I think the problems on this planet will be solved very shortly.
But I think one of the most disappointing things was Wheelie. I mentioned this in another video. They've since brought out a fully articulated version of Wheelie. Review on the channel if you want to check that out. I feel like that later release might have been a reaction to the little Wheelie pack-in that you get with this guy because it's very disappointing. Doesn't transform and I think the legs are locked in place. Yeah, I'm sorry to harp on about this guy, but he really is a rubbish. I mean, even the arm here, I knew that he wasn't articulated, but this like ball joint here, if you're going to do Wheelie, do him properly, and kudos to them, they eventually did. The main contender, Grimlock. The thing that I missed the most is, I'll mention it now, and I promise I won't mention it again, harping back to the G1 all the time, but the lack of vac metalized in modern toys is just really disappointing, isn't it? It's so much better when it's vac metalized. It just makes them pop on the shelf, and it just goes to show certain stuff is done best the first time out, and then things pale by comparison. But it's not too bad, and I think also actually it's probably more cartoon accurate because the metal doesn't shine in the cartoon, it's basically just bright yellow. But yeah, I like the jointage on his arms. Can do all kinds of range of motion with him. Look at his massive weapon, it's huge. The arms kind of eventually clip. They're on a pretty tight thing there. They're not going anywhere. One of the things I noticed with Sludge was that he was quite floppy in certain areas. Grimlock feels a lot sturdier, a lot more like Slug in that respect. Let's check out the head. I don't think we can move his head up here. Bear in mind, this is my first look at the character. I appreciate people commenting, but if I get things wrong, then bear in mind, this is really a first impression, it's a first look. So his wings at the back. Now let me just check if there's anything I need to do in the instructions when we first get him out to get him transformed properly. Sometimes there are. No, he's pretty much ready to go as he comes out. Sometimes there's a little bit at the front there that shows you something needs to be done when you take him out of the packet, but I don't think so. Oh, that's very cool. Look at that. You can stow his gun on his back. There you go. It clips onto his arm like that. That's unexpected. Kind of cool though, right? All right, so we know about the arms and lots of twists, kind of those nice clicky joints because he's such a big guy to hold whatever pose you put him in. No articulation on the fingers, but a full twizzle with the fists. Waist. I mean, the basic mold of all the Dinobots has been pretty much the same. Can we bring them out of the side? We can. And what about feet? There, we've got a knee. Does he bend at the knee? Doesn't bend at the knee. It's got their. They all have that ankle pivot, which is so important for getting them in decent poses. Let's try the first decent pose for Grimlock. It's a little bit shame you can't rock his head up a little bit more. He can just look straight ahead and left and right. Let's see what the kneel looks like. Yeah, that's really good. You can go right down where he needs to be. Wheelie, get up here, dude. Let's have a look at the other Wheelie. I hadn't realized the difference in color is huge, much more vivid than that guy, and just chunkier in general. There they are next to each other. So really, it's kind of a must purchase now if you want a decent Wheelie. This guy is just not good enough, Hasbro. Not good enough. He almost looks like he's springing off his arm there. Look, that gun is huge. It's very much like the G1 gun that he always had, which is good. Of course, in the movie, we don't see him very much with his gun. Yeah, it's just a little bit of a shame that he can't. We Grimlock love challenge. That we can't rock his head back. Well, we'll see. We can like lift him up a little bit so he's pointing forward. I like him when his wings are out a little bit more than when they're folded down like that. Just looks a little bit more dynamic to me. Maybe a bit like halfway. So there's the head hanging down, same as Sludge. The transformation for him. Alright, the moment of truth. Well, of all the Dinobots, this guy seems the easiest so far. Famous last words. But I feel like this is a piece of cake to transform. Immediately slowing down as I try and think of things, but I think we put them together like that and then turn them over. Oh. And then down like that. Then these guys are really cool. Little things that come out like that. Boom. Boom. And they clip together very easily. It's just really hard to get it wrong. You guys are really good at telling me where I get things wrong, but I think that's pretty much it. Then this guy, then his chest comes down to meet this area here, and there's a little clip underneath, so that clips to that. Clank. Then head down, dinosaur head over the top, and that clips down nicely. maybe it's already done it without a clip there. And then arms down, legs down I should say. And then these guys, it's just really obvious where everything clips up. You almost don't need the instructions for this one. Unusual. I don't like the fact that the Autobot sign has been split down the middle there. And I think that's it. That's so easy. Doesn't seem like 24 steps. And maybe when it's so easy, push his feet in, his fists in. When it's so easy, I feel like I'm missing something. But I don't think I am. So one of the cool things that you can do is stow his gun. It's got two little tabs there, and those fit nicely into two buttons on his back. They really seem to be thinking hard about these early figures in terms of where you're going to put the guns when they're on display. But my first impressions are, messing around with this guy for a few minutes, is that because this doesn't move, is there something I'm missing? You can't move this, so you can't turn the tail at all. So he has to stand almost like straight up like that. And I think of Grimlock more sort of low and angled forwards, like more predatory, almost standing up straight like that. He seems more like Godzilla or something. So my first impressions of the Dino mode, I'm afraid to say, are not that great. I mean, we can bend the legs like that, so he's almost squatting. But then he looks kind of weird, like he's leaning back on his tail, right? That's more how I think of Grimlock, storming forward. And I suppose you can do that. You can do it. But his tail has to be hovering off the ground in order to do it. I mean, I love the fact that he towers over them. He really does. He's massive. If we had a shot in the movie with them all lined up like that, Grimlock would be towering above them. So in terms of scale, they're nailing it, but I'm just not sure about that Dino mode. If you even look at like the legs here, they look great as arms, but he's not very sleek and slender. He just looks like he's got weird massive hip bones. Kind of weird. I mean, they do look absolutely great altogether, and I wouldn't want to sacrifice the authenticity of the robot mode at all. I do like the fact that this is so much like Grimlock. That's a really good version of Robot Grimlock. It's always going to be a little bit of a trade-off, I guess. If you want accuracy in robot mode, you might have to sacrifice a little bit of it in Dino mode. I don't know. I think also with him being the earliest of the Dinobots as well, they maybe made refinements and looked a little bit closer at the dinosaur mode, and I think they are responding to feedback all the time. I wonder if people were like, come on, you can do better with the Dino modes of these guys. But like I say, before we do the Decepticons, I think it'd be cool to look at all these guys, look at all their articulation, transform them, see how they all look in Dino mode together, and do a really deep dive on these Dinobots. Because like I say, I think after the G1, these are my favorites, even though there's a little bit of disappointment with the T-Rex mode. And the other thing is that they spend a lot of time in the movie in Dino mode, so it is a kind of a shame. But I'm happy with it. And honestly, I'm going to be displaying it in robot mode most of the time, so that is because of the space that I've got very shallow shelves. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Always interested in hearing from you guys. Sub up and like and all that jazz. I would like to grow the channel and do some more of these toy unboxings and talk about these various IPs that I really enjoy. Hope you're enjoying the videos. I will see you in the next one. Napyet out.